my journey with my hair, I can relate to a lot of what you're saying. As a teenager, I did all the, all the chemicals and things like that. But very early in life, probably because I'm not a particularly social person, I hated the idea of going to hairdressing salons and things like that. So I used to cut my hair, but I wanted to grow my hair, and I didn't want the rigor of braiding and all of that. And it was, ironically for me, it was in Zimbabwe. I actually went for a women writers conference in 1999 in Zimbabwe. And I saw an array of Zimbabweans, academics, writers, with locks. And I kind of realized, oh, wow, yeah, that's something I should look into. And a few years later, I started my locks, and I've never felt freer, and more in love with my natural hair. Which brings me to your book. You've written a book to help a lot of women, who actually don't even know that the relationship they have with their hair is is something they need to look into. So tell us about your book, Going Natural, and how to fall in love with nappy hair. What inspired you to write it, and what is it about?
So I had already published a book in the Netherlands. So it was the first Dutch book about natural hair.
Oh.
And
Netherlands, you used to live there?
Yeah. Suriname was a colony of Holland. So we speak Dutch. Dutch is our native language.
Okay.
So I published that book. It was the first book about natural hair care in the Netherlands and in Suriname. So, but I was living in the US. So, and then I looked at the market and I said, there are a few natural hair books, but there's no book that tells you how to go natural, which was a big issue at the time for a lot of women. So what I did, because personally, I didn't have an issue at all going natural. I was like, I'm going to go natural no matter what. If people don't like my hair, I wasn't offended at all. I would be more offended if you didn't like my shoes. But my hair is part of me. You can laugh all you want. You don't have to like my hair. It's me. You're not people. This is something I think my parents gave me. Like, you are who you are. And I was never ashamed of my hair or ashamed of being black, or I never had those kind of issues. So I was like, if you don't like my hair, it's fine. I'm not going to cry. But I saw, that a lot of women had these issues. So what I did with Going Natural, I really tried to make it a fun book to go natural. Instead of all of the issues, my goodness, how I'm going to go natural, I'm going to look ugly, people are not going to like me and stuff like that. So I just created a path for women to go natural. So how do you go natural? Well, that's what I break down in the book. Like, just find a few styles that you like. It's all about you. It's not about people. It's not about the world. It's about you. Find yourself the style that you like and that are going to look good, that you think are going to look good on you. Then try to make those styles make a plan, because every month, every other month, depending on how you want to style your hair, you're going to find a style and you're going to create it. So that's how I basically create a path that you can still look good and learn how to deal with your own hair, because it's a big deal to go from the straightening hair to the natural hair. So that's
And
basically.
it's something that we needs to start early in girls. Parents need to help their children, embrace and love, who they are very early in life, before they get, confused by all the, television advertisements and, negative modeling of the black body.
I totally agree. What I can say about this is that first, some parents, when you keep on relaxing your hair, keep on wearing weaves, it's not a very good message to your girls. That is one. On the other hand, I've seen parents who've been natural almost all of their all of their lives. They've been conscious, and still you see their daughters like wearing the weaves. And the thing that I see now is that there's a trend among younger women, and another generation. They are embracing the weaves that I don't particularly like, if I'm honest, but I can't see that they're damaging their hair or not liking their natural hair. So I'm like, maybe I'm too old to totally understand this, but I don't dislike what I see because I love the fact that they're not taking their hair for granted and they don't damage their hair. It's a process. They may not understand me, I may not understand them, but at the same time, I'm seeing a progress. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So which now brings us to another project of yours that I admire a lot. The next natural model.
America's Next Natural Model.
African,
Okay, America's Next Natural Model was basically inspired by an interview that I saw from Tyra Banks and um, what's the Sudanese model? Alec Wek.
yeah,
So they were having this conversation that it seemed that it was 2008. I vividly remember it. They were saying like, black models were out. You couldn't, they weren't hired on the stage. They weren't, you couldn't see them anywhere. And they were like, are we disposable? Why aren't we being hired and stuff like that? And I was like, you know what we should do? We should do an America's Next Natural Model, to promote the beauty of natural hair, and the fact that we could connect like models, natural hair models to businesses who wanted to promote their business, and of course be conscious about their message was a perfect connect. So that's how the America's Next Natural Model came to exist.
so when did you start it, and how many have you had?
It started in 2008. I did it 5 times. At one point I became overwhelmed, but I still do want to pick it up because I was doing so many things by myself alone, so but I mean it went wonderful. You can still see the 5 candidates who won. They were beautiful models, and every year, I mean, there was one point I was just looking at the pictures because for the people who don't know how this competition works, it's like 10 models are being selected out of how many send in their application. 10 models are being selected, and every one of them gets a sponsored package. It could be hair, it could be glasses, it could be pants, it could be everything. And then you are considered, all models are considered top model, and they have to prepare their own photo shoots. They get a challenge every week, and then you have to decide like, okay, I'm going to use this photographer, I'm going to wear this, and you have to put it together a photo shoot. And then the audience is going to vote, they're going to comment, or they're going to like and stuff like that. And the winner, eventually you get a winner.
Mm.
So at one point in the competition, I was just looking at these pictures like, wow, this is amazing. It was such a great competition, and I have to do it again. But the
Because
way,
what you're doing is actually important work. What you're doing with that America's Next Natural Model, which by the way, I think has to go beyond America. You know, I don't see why we don't have an African competition, a competition for South America and things like that. Because
that is a
I
great,
think, yeah, because what I think is important is that you are actually insisting on us participating in defining, what we conceive as beauty. We're not just waiting for these so-called Miss World, Miss Universe, and things like that to tell us, what we should value as beautiful.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. And here's the thing. The goal was the last one didn't work out, but I mean didn't go through. But the goal was for America's Next Natural Model to travel the diaspora. The idea was that the winner would travel to a country in the diaspora. Suriname would be the first, and here we would uh, America's Next Natural Model. She would highlight the small businesses in throughout the diaspora. She would highlight these businesses because, as in Africa, in the diaspora, uh, we have so many beautiful things that are not getting exposure. from the small businesses. Like I look at your necklace and your earrings and the stuff that you're wearing. It's beautiful, but where do you find these things? And that's where America's Next Natural model would go. Like she would go to Nigeria and to these small businesses who were ready to sell their products online and featuring them. So that was the goal of America's Next Natural model. Every year another country, to visit and explore the diaspora. So, but it will come back. I'm working on it.
Yeah. Before we go into the next question, um, is there a way in which viewers out there can be a part of this or help you resuscitate this very important work you're doing? Do you want to send the
Absolutely.
word out to our viewers, who have ideas or who want to be a part of um,
Competition.
this
They can
competition?
always reach out to me. My Facebook page is the easiest way. Mireille Leong, if you know how to spell my name. But you can even go to Going
Spell
Natural
it
or
for
my.
us. Spell it for us, just so that they know what they're looking for.
Maybe it's easier if you go to whatnaturalslove.com, or
Okay.
to just my Facebook page, what's natural love. If you go to what naturals love and you send me a message, I will definitely get it. And yes, you can be involved. I can use everybody. We can use all the support that we want, that we can get.
So you've heard Muriel, viewers out there, hook up with her to see how you can also be a part of this very, very important movement. You also had this exhibition called Bad Hair Uprooted. What's
Yes.
that about? You're a hair evangelist. You know
Well, thank
you're
you. I
you're a
appreciate that.
natural hair evangelist.
I appreciate that, because yeah, it really has became my, it really became my passion, because there's so much damage, and we just need to learn. So Bad Hair Uprooted, as I just told you, it started when I first saw natural hairstyles. I was surrounded by natural hairstyles for the first time in my life, and I was in my 30s as a grown woman. So that inspired me to take pictures, because as I said before, I was like, if girls around the world, because I felt that what I lacked in my life, growing up, was examples of natural hairstyles. And I felt if the world could see this, they wouldn't be so prejudiced against black hairstyles. And if girls could see that, they wouldn't be so quick to damage their hair. Because one of the things that I learned, I have white friends too, you know, when my friend, she's Jewish, she told me that she straightened her hair once and then it started breaking and she never did it again. Why is it that we, obsessively, compulsively keep straightening our hair? I was like, oh my God, my hair broke too, but I kept doing it. Why? How do we value ourselves? So with Bad Hair Uprooted, I collected those pictures, and in 2013, I added the story behind it, like the story of black follicles that no one basically tells you, that you need to learn about. Like, because we have, when you're in this world for a long time, you realize these feelings that people have about their hair. They're so insecure. I can't do with my hair. The difficult part that I was talking about. So we have a certain feeling about our hair, but we don't necessarily know where it comes from. So what I did with Bad Hair Uprooted, I started to basically look at the history. Our history didn't start with 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 slavery, but before that. And if you look at African culture and the hairstyles that we had there, you know, we could communicate with our hair. We were communicating with our hair. So, when we got married, when somebody died, you could there was a communication, and hair is important in every culture. Like in Indian culture, you have to shave your hair when your dad died. I've seen this. I lived in Wageningen, in this small place with basically almost all ethnic groups. So I've seen this up close. I know how important hair is, but what I've also learned is that hair is even more important in Black culture, because we are communicating with it. Up until today, we have a style here in our Maroon community called "Meet Me on the Corner." You know, this is how they communicated. Like, you have a boyfriend, you have a hairstyle, meet me on the corner.
And we
You
have
know,
it in a lot of Nigerian culture. Where I'm Yoruba, and hairstyles, traditional hairstyles, all have names. Ipako Elede, Shuku, that they all mean different things. In fact, I think we have one similar to this meet me in the corner, Pademini Koro or something. So it's amazing how these things,
how we connect, right?
yeah.
How we connect. It's an incredible connection. So yeah, so when once you learn that, you can take us out of Africa, but you can't take Africa out of us. And that's what you see here. We spend the most money on our hair than every other ethnic group. So at the same time, you can also see the connection between your social status and your hair, because people say like she doesn't have enough money to straighten her hair or to wear a wig, to wear a good weave, you know. So that's the part of Africa. We're still connected. So once we were brought here, once we were stolen from our land, and they took, they shaved our hair, and they took our identity away. So bad hair, good hair came from the plantations where, um, you know, in the good, you had good hair when you had when you were when you were allowed to work as a house slave, right? Because then you were probably an offspring of the planter or of the plantation owner. So you had a good hair, but you also had a good job. And that was this distinction. Like nobody wanted to do the hard work on the plantations in the hot sun, you know. So that's where the good hair, bad hair came from. Also connected to the social. We women will never talk about our hair loss because we're ashamed of it. There's so much pain and regret. It's not being accepted. Our hair is called ugly. We've been, all of the trauma, the regret. You see what it causes, rooted in slavery. If you don't talk about it, if you don't deal with it.
What are you working on now, and what can
Right now I'm working on whatnaturalslove.com. That is a marketplace basically for the diaspora. We have beautiful things and hair products in Suriname as well. So that's one of the things. I will add more Suriname products to it, items from Suriname vendors, not just hair, but the thing about my marketplace is that once I had this platform for natural hair, vendors came to me and they wanted to sell their products on my platform too. So that's how I expanded to diaspora fashion.
okay?
So and wellness. So that's how I expanded it. So that's what I'm doing now. I also have a plan for this year to do a international hair show online, because we're still in COVID times. I don't know if usually in July, August, I have a natural hair show. I don't know if I can do it again this year in Brooklyn. So I'm going to take it online, where I want African hairstylists, American hairstylists, stylists from Holland, from France, from the whole world. I want to put a international natural hair show live on social media. That's my
Exciting.
goal this year.
We'll all be looking out for it.
I hope so.
Thank you for being a part
You're
of
welcome.
the Sankofa Pan African series, Muriel. It's
You should be in my hair show.